So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is finally back, and I am so excited for the return of this series. I really am, because JoJo's parts 1 through 4 were fantastic. I really had a lot of fun with them, and you know, it was quite fun binging those shows as well. And today, David's production is back at it once again with the return of more JoJo for us once again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. I'm just gonna say this right now, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 definitely made a solid first impression for me personally when it comes down to this series finally returning, and with the fall 2018 season, this is definitely going to be a contender. I know everything hasn't come out yet, and I may be a little bit biased, but I love JoJo, I really do, and just to see the return of this series once again, like I said, it's great, and it just made a really solid first impressions. The animation looked really clean and vibrant. I love the color palettes to this series and the stylistic choices it chooses throughout. I really like the animation to the series. That I can't really say enough about the animation, but you all know how the animation is if you have watched JoJo before. Now, the music this time around, I actually really enjoyed. I mean, I just personally felt that the entirety of the music tracks that were playing throughout this first episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 were really well implemented. I really did. I mean, there were certain scenes that had different tracks playing in the background, and you can definitely tell that some of these tracks were different compared to the rest, and they were consistent with each other and flow very well to create a sense of atmosphere within the series. And you know, JoJo has been able to do that with its other parts, it really has, but I just really noticed it within this first episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, and I just thought they did a fantastic job. So when it comes down to the music alone, I really did appreciate it. So like I said, when it comes down to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, it seems to be taking place in Italy this time around, and the main central character that is the focus of this part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is Giorno Giovanna. Now, Giorno Giovanna seems like a very interesting character, I'll definitely have to say, because when it at least comes down to his background, he seems to be very, very intriguing. So I'm very curious more on learning more about Giorno Giovanna. He does in fact seem to have an interesting background. From what we see in this episode, it seems that stands are in fact returning in this part of JoJo, and he seems to have a stand in which he can actually send his opponent's moves right back at them. But not only that, what we see throughout this episode is that when it comes down to Giorno Giovanna, he's kind of a bit of a delinquent, okay? He is a thief of sorts, as it seems as he can steal objects with the help of his stand and make them appear as an animal of sorts, completely deceiving others. So that really brings up the question on how exactly, you know, the extent of his stand goes. I mean, we didn't really, you know, get an elaborate sort of, kind of a explanation as to how exactly his stand works. We did pick up on a few things, but usually in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you kind of just go with it, and then they reveal that later down the line in the next couple of episodes. So I'm curious to learn more about him as the episodes come on. Now, Giorno Giovanna, despite being a delinquent, he doesn't seem all that bad as a guy. He really doesn't. As it seems, he has sort of like a soft spot for kids. In one scene, he stole money from a pair of 2 girls and then spent the money that he stole from those 2 girls and bought a kid an ice cream cone. So it seems as though he does seem to have somewhat of a nice moral compass of sorts, but at the same time, he is still a bit of a delinquent, and there could be a reason for that, leading to my next point. What we also know about Giorno Giovanna is that apparently he is the son, the illegitimate son of Dio Brando. Now, we're kind of unsure whether he's the illegitimate son or the legitimate son of Dio Brando, but it is stated within this episode that apparently he is technically the son of Dio Brando, as according to Jotaro. Yes, Jotaro makes a return in this episode, as well as Koichi from Part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as well, and they are technically working together in this episode to track down Giorno Giovanna and basically just keep an eye on him, because they don't know exactly on if he is going to turn out like Dio, for example, so they are worried because he does apparently hold Dio's bloodline. And it was also stated that apparently, I guess, Giorno Giovanna's hair wasn't exactly always blonde, it just suddenly turned that way recently, and this could be for the fact that the blood that was residing within him could have possibly been awakened because he apparently has Dio's blood. So that is at least what the statement from Jotaro is building off of. So they are keeping an eye on him to make sure that he doesn't necessarily, you know, become dangerous, so to speak, or else they are in fact going to have a new enemy that they're going to have to face. So I'm not exactly sure on how much Koichi as well as Jotaro will appear throughout the story of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, but we definitely know that Giorno Giovanna is essentially going to be the main character of this series. Now, we also did get some new introductions to new characters throughout this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, such as Leaky Eye Luca and Bruno Geparte. I don't know exactly if I pronounce his name right, nor do I care, but when it comes down to this review, I'm just gonna call him Bruno, okay? So, yeah, regarding Leaky Eye Luca. Apparently he is a member of a mobster group, which name we do not know of, at least from right now when it comes down to the anime, but when it comes down to Leaky Eye Luca, apparently what we saw in this episode is that Giorno Giovanna was able to send his shovel attack right back at him to the point to where he literally made a big massive dent in the backside of his head, putting him in a coma. Okay, and now when it comes down to the relation of the mobster group that Leaky Eye Luca was a part of, apparently Bruno was also a part of that, and the boss in charge killed off Leaky Eye Luca, and yeah, then this happens. Yeah, Bruno was able to put the remains of Leaky Eye Luca inside of Giorno Giovanna. To be honest, when I saw this in the episode, I was disgusted at this, but I was so entertained, I'm not gonna lie. It was completely disgusting, but I just couldn't help but just, like, really smile throughout watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. I'm so glad this series has returned. It's weird, but that's why, you know, hence the title, it's a bizarre adventure. It's a bizarre series, okay? But when it comes down to what we learn about Bruno Stan is that he is able to open up zippers anywhere on somewhere in, you know, on someone's body and can put anything within it. He even referenced that he was able to actually fit a fire extinguisher within inside of Giorno Giovanna. But if he was able to do that, he would have killed him on the spot because obviously Giorno Giovanna would have choked to death. You know, he probably would have imploded, to be honest with you. You would not be able to get that thing out whatsoever. So yeah, and he also has this kind of unique ability to actually figure out if someone is truly lying, so he's kind of like his own lie detector, so to speak, so I thought that was kind of cool as well. But yeah, like I said, we don't know the full extent to these guys' stands right now, but we'll eventually, you know, get hopefully, you know, more explanation as the series goes on from that, and we'll also see new reoccurring characters kind of join the group, and we'll see who the true antagonist of the series could possibly be, because at the moment, it seems as though Koichi and Jotaro are just keeping a watch on Giorno Giovanna because they're not sure if he's actually going to be the antagonist or not. For all we know, it actually could be the mobster's leader, the one that Leaky Eye Luca and Bruno is a part of. So I'm really curious to see on how exactly this new part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. I have been avoiding all of the news really when it comes down to this part of JoJo because I simply want to be surprised as we go on throughout the episode. So, you know, whether my speculations are correct or incorrect, let me know in the comments down below, but please do not leave spoilers because, like I said, I want to be surprised when it comes down to this series. And also, I'm sure that other people don't want to be spoiled as well, so please be respectful in the comments. With that said, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on what you thought about your first viewing experience with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. I personally really enjoyed it. Definitely a strong first impressions, but let me know your thoughts. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit the red subscribe button down below if you want to see more content from me. I'm going to be uploading every week anime and gaming content here on the channel, so if any of those things interest you, then please hit that red subscribe button down below and turn on those post notifications. With that said, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.